When a doctor told me that I have Parkinson's dementia, I started a journey that's likely to take the rest of my life to complete. There's always the optimistic hope that a cure will be found, but realistically, we will be fighting this thing for years to come.
The first thing I spotted was I was in my car, driving to meet friends, and it rained. And I couldn't find the wipers in the car. I thought, this is silly. And I touched every knob and turn thing. And I'd always driven the same car, not the same car, but the same make of car. I just couldn't find the wipers. But then I noticed I was having difficulty following people's conversations when there was more than one person speaking. On a one-to-one, I was fine, but when there was two or three, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't join myself in when I needed to.
I think it began when I began to identify slowing down in eyesight. After, I also thought we saw our local doctor, who very thoroughly examined me.
Well, it came about because we'd started noticing, you'd started noticing your memory was
Forgetting things.
Forgetting, and yeah.
I was always, I always got great memory facilities, you know, that I'd remember everything, be able to go back right to I was young. But I find it more and more difficult. I was forgetting things. Sometimes I forget what I know and I don't know what I've forgotten to see, so I've got to get that mixed in a little bit.
It was all the usual things like, I can't find keys, what have I come in this room for? All the things that people say. And everyone gets, it's just age. And I thought, yes, it probably is just age. But it was happening too often. And it was happening rapidly with me. I didn't kind of walk out the room and think, why have I come in here? I think, right, and as soon as the I will had got to my mouth, I didn't know what I will or I would do.
We went to the doctor and the doctor said there isn't a problem, but we knew there was, so we went for a private clinic, and he said, yes, there's a problem, but I can't give medication.
They couldn't.
Yeah. So then we were already on the list for the memory clinic. We had to fight to get an appointment, which we finally got. And that was sort of the journey to really find out when you got your official diagnosis, wasn't it?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
My instant reaction to the news that I did have Alzheimer's was relief, because I'd had so much trouble previously with talking to doctors because I thought there was something wrong with my memory, and in a way it was nice to have that confirmation.
I think I'm probably a little different to quite a few of the other people you may have heard from, in that I live on my own, so I have to deal with quite a bit on my own, and my journey really was made again on my own, in that I had got Parkinson's disease, and I'd come quite a long way with that when I started to have other symptoms which I wasn't sure about. So I did go, my GP sent me to a neurologist. My dementia was in fact Parkinson's dementia, which is relatively common that people with severe Parkinson's get eventually. And so it was, and this is something you have to bear with me, that I will have to wait for the words to come. This is part of the problem and part of the symptoms. So just bear with this, that I might start to stutter a little bit. And and I'd forgotten where I was then. So I think I was still talking about the clinic, the memory clinic, I think. Yes, I was. The memory clinic gave me some medication, which I did take, and they were going to up the dose eventually. But I did find that it didn't work with me, and it didn't actually mix very well with all the medication I was taking for Parkinson's disease. So I actually said that I would see how I went on without medication, and that's where my journey to the start of learning how to deal with dementia began.
The diagnosis was 6 months later to the day, and we had an hour with the doctor, who was very good at explaining all the information that he'd seen from these various tests. And then he explained that he'd come to the conclusion that Geoff had early stage Alzheimer's.
Brian was with me when I got the diagnosis, and he'd said all along, "Oh, you're all right, sweetheart. You know, it's nothing," and what have we. But I watched him when the doctor said it, you know, and he slumped, you know. And we never said anything to each other. We just listened to the doctor and whatnot, and we went out to the car and got in the car, and he said, "We'll get through it," which I thought was nice, rather than saying, "You'll get through it." You know, he'd taken onus as well.
Julie, of course, knew, because she was there when we got the result. But I didn't want to sort of get on the phone and tell everybody, and, you know, here I've got this and what it is. I actually wanted to think it through myself, to accept it myself, which is why I think the very first thing on the day, within half an hour of getting the result, I said, it is what it is. I can't change what it is. I can only change what way I react to it and how I deal with it. In such a way that I'm not putting any stress on myself or on anybody else in the family. My friends and family are spread quite widely over the world, through Canada, South Africa, Ireland, obviously, and here. And I just told the close family, that I had got it, but I would deal with it.
I have to help others come to terms with my PD. To me, telling family and friends that I have Parkinson's has been the most difficult thing of all. I was emotional and nervous myself at first. I knew that the news would be a shock to them, but most people know little about Parkinson's dementia, and you have to explain what it is to them. Their attitudes vary from genuine concern and support to not knowing what to say and coming out with something like, "Oh well, the treatments are very good these days," and really not wanting to talk about it. After you've told your immediate family about it, it becomes easier for you because you've been through the process a few times.
The people I care about, bearing in mind that I haven't any family. Now, I haven't any children, and I haven't any close family, and I haven't any relatives, in fact. I am 81 after all, so a lot of them I didn't know very well anyway, but they have gone now. So the people that were important to me were my close friends, I suppose. Those were the people that were important. And I think I sort of really just got round it, in that occasionally I'd forget a lot more than I did. And so I did get to the stage where I explained to them that it was just an addition to the Parkinson's, and we'd got to get on with it the same as we did with the Parkinson's.
To be quite honest, certainly our daughter Tracy sort of had recognised it some time before and we'd talked about it.
Talked about me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why we went for the diagnosis. And our son also was aware.
My daughter was overboard a little bit. From ringing me a couple of times a week, she was on the phone twice a day. So after about the third day, I said, Samantha, why are we doing this? She said, doing what, Mum? I said, you're ringing me twice a day. She said, well, I just want to talk to you. I said, I'm not at death's door. You know, I said, hopefully this is a slow creeping illness for me. You know, so please just go back to what you were. I can't be doing this business a couple of times a day. My son, on the other hand, he's never coped with illness very well with anybody at all. And he's just said, oh, well, you're just going to be a dotty old lady, and that's it. That's the only conversation, really, that we've had. I don't say he doesn't look after me. He does. And I know he cares. But he just finds it very hard. And I don't know what to say to him, really.
First of all, I phoned our 3 children in turn by ages, oldest to youngest, just the usual way. And then I also phoned Geoff's sister and my 2 brothers and told them what the diagnosis was, although I don't think any of them was surprised, really. Anybody we met that we knew well, we told them, because there's absolutely no point in trying to hide it or not tell that sort of diagnosis. And then when it was Christmas, I added a note to quite a few Christmas cards of people that we don't see, probably from one year to the next, about what the situation was, including some of Geoff's cousins.
I think the reaction was very positive in a strange way, given what the situation was. That I had no doubts at all that all these people that Margaret's identified were tremendously supportive.
I think talk about it. I know a lot of people keep it from people, but I'm an outgoing person, and I didn't want to be in a group of people and after I'd left that group and said, she was hard work, wasn't she? Because I can't always follow the conversations. So I just feel easier now to say, and I'm quite happy if I go in a shop and I'm struggling to say, I'm sorry, I do have Alzheimer's and my concentration is extremely poor, which it is. And everyone's been very kind.
I suppose I took it on board really as another learning curve and to get to know it. But I didn't find it too difficult to deal with at that stage. I just took it on board and said, right, we'll get to grips with you. And that's how we went along.
Well, over the years, we have, I think, developed to be just a kernel of, and I'm really talking about Julie and I, we see the kids on a regular basis. We see the grandkids and the great-grandkids or talk about them. But it's just we understand, we've always understood each other. And it's just a continuation of that. There's nothing vastly different that I could say about my relationship or our relationship now as to talking about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago.
I would say it's a partnership. The carer has just got to change and say, look, life's going to change, but not for the worst. And just go out there and meet new people. There's so many caring people out there. Recognise it's an illness, nobody's done anything wrong. Once you get your diagnosis, it's probably a good thing because it unlocks all sorts for you.
Yeah. We have got really good support from all sorts of directions. Like 2 days after Geoff got the diagnosis, we had a phone call from Calderdale Dementia Hub. My practical suggestion would be get an A5 size reinforced plastic pocket with a zip that you can put into, that Geoff puts into his phone, his wallet, his hearing aids, and I can see them and he can see them. These are the things that disappear, and if they're in this plastic see-through thing, we can see them without digging in like you would have to in a handbag or that kind of thing. And it goes upstairs and it comes downstairs, and it's always available.
Some people never ask how I am. While some do take the trouble to inquire, but I get the feeling that only some of them really want the true answer. Perhaps those who don't ask look at me and make their own assessment, or else they would find it difficult to know what to say if I told them I was having problems, so they avoid the subject. Some of those who don't ask me, ask my wife. Hello there, I'm not deaf, dumb or stupid. I have Parkinson's dementia.
Alzheimer's is not a thing to be terrified of. It's a thing to deal with.